Okay guys, so I've had a couple of people asking me how to do the mask and how to do the motion guides with the text that kind of scales up and changes color based on the motion guide. So I'll show you a breakdown of the actual final project that I did, and notice it's a different design than what you did in the book, and I chose to do it on this particular one because then it forces you to not just have the answers, but you have to figure it out for your own or the one you do from the book. So if I look at this, one thing that could be tripping you up is you actually have to lock the guide layers and the mask layers in order to actually see it. So once I come over here, I'll go ahead and turn off the majority of the stuff and just show you the mask. So as we look at the mask, we have a mask. It's called BG mask, and that's the shape. Then we have the foreground picture and the background picture. If I unlock these, all of a sudden you'll see that we have the mask shape that's up here, and I just used a rectangle. You could have used a star like in the book, a heart, whatever you want to do. So what this has, if we turn on and off each layer, I have this black kind of formula blackboard looking picture. And then in Photoshop, I took that same picture in and made it green. Or that might have been vice versa. It might have started out green and then I made it black. But anyway, they're the exact same size. They're the exact same picture except for the color. And I want to be able to see the green board inside of the mask as the mask moves. Then we have this mask shape, which as we scrub this playhead, you see that nothing really happens for the first like 80 frames. But as it moves down, it's just using a shape tween, and that shape has been morphed a little bit. See how it got a little bit skinnier there? And then as it goes down, it's going to get a little skinnier, and then it's going to bounce back up, and it's going to be strategically placed. Let's see. So that it's sitting right underneath the picture and the text. Now you could have used, again, a circle, a heart, a star. I don't care what shape you do to use the mask. But in order for you to use a shape tween, you're going to have to make sure it's a basic shape. All right, so when I lock these down, you should be able to see this effect. Let me turn that motion guide layer off, and I'll turn all these off again. So now as I watch it, you can see that black background image, and we will only see the foreground image in the mask here. So as I scrub this again, all of a sudden you'll see that that green board appears where that shape is masked. And it only appeared when I actually locked the layers. So if they're unlocked, you can't see them. So let's go ahead and tear one apart and do this from scratch. So I'll leave all the other layers just so we don't have to really start from scratch, and delete those three. And I'm going to create a new layer at the bottom called blackboard. I don't know. It is what it is. So, all right, green blackboard. Maybe that'll help to give more specific names. And then on top of that, we'll call this shape mask. All right. So in my library panel, I have already imported the images. Now I gave you guys some images. They're the exact same size. I think you can see them here. But if you create your own, you just have to make sure to take them into Photoshop or something and make sure they're the exact same size. And I made sure they were the size of my stage, which is 1280 by 720. You can really choose any stage size that works for you, but it'll always mean you have to tweak different things like the size of your images or the size of your text when you do the motion guides, etc. So on this blackboard layer, I'll go ahead and click the first frame and drag that background on there and make sure it lines up with the edges of the stage. And then I'll click on the green blackboard and pop that on there. And I want to align it perfectly so that it doesn't look like there's any weird shifting. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to add my shape. So I'll zoom out a little bit for this so you can see it. Grab my basic shape. Again, choose whatever you want to choose. And I'll take the stroke color off and just make a garish color because this color is not going to matter. So I'll choose orange. And I'm going to start off the stage so it doesn't all of a sudden just magically appear, but it comes in from off stage. You can choose whichever way you want. Okay, so once that object is on there, I need to actually start animating it. The thing is, I don't actually want that mask to start until maybe later on in time. So I'll click that first frame. I'll click it once and then click and drag it to move that keyframe to wherever I want to start that mask animating. So I'll just pick there for now. You can, again, pick wherever you want because this is just you designing your own version of this. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to create a shape tween. There are two ways you could do this. You could go up to Insert and choose Create Shape Tween, it'll create a broken shape tween. But once you come down over here, you can hit F6 on your keyboard or go to Insert, Timeline, Keyframe, and it makes a copy of this same object, but now you have a new version on this frame, and for this new version, you can move it and transform it however you want. So I'll go ahead and move it down there, grab my transform tools, and I'll make it a lot skinnier. Okay, so instead of adding the shape tween, you could have made a copy first and then right click and add shape tween in there. Either way, it's the same thing. So at this point in time, I also want to create a new keyframe so that I can create a second version of this skinny orange line and then bring it up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit F6. Notice that it creates another keyframe here. All of a sudden, this looks like a solid arrow. And this copy of that, I'm going to move up and make it a little bit. I'm going to actually undo that because it kind of shifted. I don't know if they're going to be able to see the shift, but all right. So let's say make it a much wider one, and then here, maybe I want it to come down again. So again, F6, grab it, and then I want this to be a little bit skinnier, and then one more, F6, and that's probably going to be a little bit off in pacing because it's a really short chunk compared to these ones, but you can figure that out on your own. So I'll probably turn these two on because I like this to be perfectly set, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so I don't need the rest of this shape tween, this broken one, because I just want that orange square to sit there. So I'll right click and choose Remove Shape Tween. Okay, so again, we can't see anything happening with this until we lock it. So we'll go back over here, and all of a sudden, nothing's happening. So what's going on there? Well, you want to lock it before you do the mask layers, because then otherwise you're going to think there's nothing working. So always lock it, and then for the shape mask, we're going to right click on it, and you can't see this option, but when you right click, you should be able to click mask. When you click mask, it will give you this little new icon showing you it's a mask, and the layer right underneath it, which should be the green blackboard, the layer order matters here, should become a part of that mask or your shape or whatever picture. So now when you run along, you should be able to see that mask animate. If you unlock it, we'll go back again. This is why I always lock it before I turn it into a mask layer, just so I don't trick myself and freak out about it not working. So anyway, that's how to create the mask. In the next tutorial video, we're going to talk about how to create this actual motion guide that all the text is supposed to link to and have its scale and color come from.